Hello and welcome to a short story scene. I'm your host, the storyteller, and here we have a tale called Inferno by Dante Alighieri. Canto 16. Now was I aware that the heard a reverberation of water falling on to the next round, like that of a humming which the beehives make. Then shadows there together started forth, running from out the company that passed. Beneath the rain of the sharp martyrdom towards us that there, each one cried out, Stop thou, for by the garb of us that seemest, and some one of the depraved city. Ah me, what wounds I saw upon their limbs, recent and ancient, by the flames burnt in. It pains me still but to remember it. Unto their cries my teacher paused attentive. He turned his face towards me, and now wait, he said, and these should be courteous. And if it were not for the fire and the darts, the nature of the region, I should say that haste were more becoming thee than them. And as soon as we stood still, they recommenced, and only refrained, and when they overtook us, formed themselves a wheel, all there of them, as companions stripped and oiled are wont to do, and watching for their advantage of their hold, before they come the blows and thrusts between them. Thus wheeling around did every one his visage direct to me, so that in opposite wise his neck and fleet continual journey made. And if the misery of the soft place brings disdain ourselves in our entries, began when in our aspect black and blistered, let the renown of us thy mind inclined to tell us who thou art, and thou seclude, and the living feet thus move along through hell. He is whose footprints that thou dost see me treading, and the naked skinless through he now may go, was the greater rank thou dost think. He was the grandson of the good Galaderia, and his name Dugura, and in his life he with his wisdom and his sword. The other who closed his threads and sands, Tergahiro Alibor Brandy, is whose fame above there in the world should become welcome be. And I who with them on the cross am placed, Jacopo Tucci, was, and truly my savage wife more than aught else doth harm me. Could I have been protected from the fire below, I should have thrown myself among them, and think that the teacher would have suffered it. But as I should have burned and baked myself, my terror overmastered my goodwill, which made me greedy in embracing them. Then I began, sorrow and not disdain. Did your condition fix within me so that tardily it was wholly is stripped off? As soon as this my lord said unto me words, on account of which I thought within me that people such as you are were approaching. I am my own city am, and evermore your labors and your honorable names, with the affectionate retracing heard. I leave the gale and go for the sweetest fruits promised to me by the voracious leader. But to the center first I needs must plunge. So may the soul, and along with the conduct, those limbs of thine. Did he make an answer then, and so many the renown shine after thee, valor and courtesy, so if they dwell within our city as they used to do, or as the holy have gone out of it. Or Guillermo Borricio, who is the torment, and whose Leighton goes there with his comrades, doth greatly mortify us with his words. The new inhabitants in the sudden gains, pride and extravagance, have there thee engendered, Florence, so that thou weepest thereat already. And the wise I exclaimed, in the face uplifted, and three, taking that for my reply, looked on each other, and one looks at truth, and the other time so like doth cost thee, replied they all. To satisfy another, happy art thou thus speaking at thy will. Therefore, if thou escape from these dark places and come to behold the beauteous stars, when I shall please thee to say, I was. See that thou speak of us unto the people. Then that broke up the wheel, and in this flight it seemed as if the agile legs were wings. Not an amen could possibly be said, so rapidly as they disappeared. Wherefore the master deemed best to depart. I followed him, and little had we gone before the sound of water was so near that the speaking we were hardly had been heard. Even as the stream which holdeth its own course, and first from Monte Vesu towards the east, upon the left-hand slope of Apine, which is above called Acuchetia, ere down descended into its low bend in the Forli in the vacant of thy name. Reverberance there above San Benedicto, from Alps to the falling of the single leap, where the thousands there were room enough. Thus downward from the bank precipitate, we found resounding the dark tinted water, so that soon that the ear had offended, had a cord along about me grit, and where there withheld I with whom the design to take the panther with the painted skin. After this I had all me unloosened, when my conductor had commanded me, I reached it to him, gathered up and coiled, whereat he turned himself to the right side, and a little distant from the verge, he cast it down into the deep abyss. It must need be some novelty respond, I said within myself, to the new signal the master with his eye is following so. Ah me, how very cautious men should be, with who not alone beheld the account, by their wisdom look into the thoughts. He said to me, soon there will upward come what I await, and what thy thought is dreaming must soon reveal itself unto thy sight. Aye, to the truth which had the face of falsehood, a man should close his lips as far as may be, because without his fault it causes shame. But here I cannot, and reader, by the notes of this my comedy to thee, I swear, so that it may not be void of lasting favor. Athwart the dense and darksome atmosphere, I saw a figure swimming upward come, marvelous unto every steadfast heart, even as he returns who goeth down sometimes to clear the anchor which has grappled reef, and aught else in the sea is hidden, who upward stretches and draws its feet. And that concludes Inferno by Dante Alighieri, Canto 16. If you like this content and like to support it, please head on over to Patreon. That is www.patreon.com/shortstoryscene. And I'd like to thank my patron Drac for all your help. Thank you for listening, and see you next episode. Bye!